Go live. We're live on YouTube. This is the Complete Man Podcast, episode number 8. And we're live in 3, 2. Welcome back to the Complete Man Podcast with your host, Purdeep Sangha. Purdeep, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to rock. How are you doing?
I'm good, and I am ready to rock as well. And we've got an interesting topic to talk about today. So I'm gonna let you take it from there.
Yeah, cool. So today's topic is more on the business side. We're going to be talking about what happens when you get your strategy right. And I want to talk specifically around a particular company called NESPRESSO. Have you heard of them, Nathan?
I have not. Well, maybe I have. It sounds familiar, but it might be because my brain's just mixing it up with espresso.
Yeah, they're the little Keurig type of machines, the home, whatever you call them. I don't even, coffee makers or whatever it is, espresso makers. It's really interesting because I want to talk about them in general, but what I want to say is, man, they are nailing it right now. They are doing an extremely great job in terms of getting into people's homes. I actually just bought one not too long ago for my wife for Mother's Day. She loves coffee. And I see them everywhere now. I see them in so many people's homes. So they've done an amazing job in a number of areas. And I thought originally that this company was a new company. Like, I literally thought that they were a brand new company, but lo and behold, they were not. They've been around since, I believe, 1986. They're originally from Switzerland. So I'm like, what the heck has actually happened? And what they did was they just reinvented themselves and reinvented their strategy. And they've done extremely well. So long story short, I think what they've done now, and I think they nailed the perfect timing, because during COVID, guess what ended up happening? A lot of people do not go to cafes. They did not go to Starbucks because a lot of originally they were closed, but then, people weren't hanging out in those locations anymore. A lot more people were drinking coffee from home. And a lot more people. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm the opposite. I was looking for any excuse to get out of my house during COVID. And so I got hooked on coffee shops because they were one of the few places that were open. So I'm the bad example for this story.
You're the opposite. So just like anything else, it goes either way. But I think they took a great advantage, because if you take a look at people working at home, they wanted their coffee, and not everybody was willing to leave their home to go get a coffee to start the workday, for example. It's a lot easier just to get up and go sit in front of your computer. Mm-hmm. So we know that consumption at home for coffee has risen dramatically. So this company took massive advantage of that. Like, just brilliant, because they took Keurig, I think, had a great concept, but I just think they missed out on a few things. They didn't create an experience. It was more like, here, just throw in this little one disposable cup thing and away you go. It wasn't high quality. These guys actually have created high quality espresso. Like, it's really cool, man. I've never experienced this, where you put the little cup in the machine, and when it makes it, there's actually like foam at the top. Mm-hmm. Like it's like an espresso. I was like, what the heck? This is actually cool. But they've actually gone a step further as well, where they have so many different cool, high quality flavors. And this is a kicker, because I think this is pretty awesome. And here in Canada, we pay a lot of attention to it. In the US, some states pay attention to it, but it's recycling. And what they do is, you don't throw those little cups away. They give you two options. They give you bags, and they say, if you are too lazy to get up and come back to the mall and drop off the bag, you can actually take it to your local post office. Here's prepaid stamps. And so when you fill up the bag, you ship us back the cups. So guess what we do? We take the coffee grinds and we use them as organic fertilizer, and we take the cups and we reuse the aluminum we recycle the aluminum. So now it is a lot more green to be able to use these disposable cups. It's pretty amazing, because for the conscious person, the eco-conscious person, it makes you feel good, because now you're like, this is like virtually no waste. This is awesome. So they've done that from a strategic standpoint. And Nathan, you remember in our previous episodes when we first started, right? We started with super fans
Mm-hmm.
talking about customer experience, and we talked about how so many organizations were lacking on the experience side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these guys don't need to have physical locations, but they're in malls, and you can go in there and they create a great experience for you. And so when you're in there, you're actually feeling like you're shopping for boutique espresso machines. And here's the other side too. If you want to spend a lot, yeah, you can spend a lot, but you don't have to, because they have economical models for you that will actually do an amazing job. I bought mine for my wife for $150. Like, that's pretty cheap. So they've nailed their strategy. They've gotten into the average home now, and everybody I shouldn't say that. That's an exaggeration, but a lot of people I talk to now have these Nespresso machines in their homes. So they're doing well.
So what I like about this is, as a businessman, we're taught the importance of like the razor blade versus the razor handle model, where you get them hooked on, you give them a free razor and a razor handle, and then they keep buying that same razor over and over again because they have that one handle. So you keep them, instead of just buying one razor, they're buying new razor heads every week or every month or whatever. The problem with that business model for me is how wasteful it is. We see a lot of these companies that every year during Earth Day month, they come out and brag about how much they care about the earth, but their business model is built off of getting you to waste, making it to where you have to buy over and over and over again and just keep throwing stuff away. What I like about this company is that they've kind of overcome that objection for me. For me as a businessman, I get why you build your company that way. But for me as somebody who also cares about the planet and is cautious about pollution and waste, that's always a big objection that I have with my own career, is that I'm constantly teaching people, hey, we need repeat customers, but at the same time. And so that part of the story was awesome. I'm glad to hear that there's a company that figured out a way to overcome that objection.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with this company. I'd love to see where they go. I think they're going to phase out the Keurig machines. I think the Keurig is still going to be around. I think it's going to be the more economical option. But I think Nespresso is really going to kill it in the market. And I've already seen them do that. It's like they just came out overnight. I literally have talked to so many people now that I just, whether we go into their homes or just have a conversation, it's like, yeah, we just got that machine, or I've always wanted to get that machine. I'm going to get that machine now that you've talked about it. So they've done an amazing side from all aspects. I think, when we take a look at strategy, they nailed it. They really nailed it, right? They took a look at their customers and they said, what are my customers looking for? They took a look at their product innovation. They took a look at sustainability. They took a look at the customer experience. And timing, right? And timing is a big thing when it comes to strategy. And COVID, man, so many businesses just flopped because they just put their head in the sand and they said, you know what? We can't do anything. This is out of our control. Where other companies said, how do we take advantage of this? And they did an amazing job. So kudos to them. I highly encourage you to take a look at this organization, maybe even do a case study if you need to, so you can apply some of the principles to your own business. We've talked about a lot of them now already, right? Customer experience, like we said, a reusable product, higher end, catering to different markets, having an experience, physical locations. Like they've done it all. And so, sorry, go ahead.
I want to pick your brain about that last thing that you said, physical locations, because especially throughout COVID, the have it delivered straight up to my car or have it delivered to my house, or like the roadside delivery or whatever, ordering online, all of those have increased. And also the QR codes, I saw a huge increase in QR codes, people not wanting to touch menus at a restaurant. But now I'm starting to see that go back. I'm starting to see people avoiding using the QR code and asking for an actual order form. I'm seeing people some people are still using the delivery like Grubhub and DoorDash and stuff like that. But I'm seeing people actually walk into restaurants, actually walk into grocery stores. I know that especially for like fruits and produce and stuff like that, people are not wanting a worker at Walmart to pick out their fruits and vegetables for them. So more people are starting to go back into the grocery stores, back into the brick and mortar shops. So we saw a big move away from it, and we talked about that on the show. But one thing that you were very consistent with this whole time was that customer connection, that wanting to pick out your own shoes and socks, that wanting to try on the clothes, that wanting to have interaction with somebody who actually helps you. That wasn't something that was going to go away. And for a while, everybody was saying that's going away. And it seems like you were right. After 2 years of everybody saying the opposite, it seems like you ended up being the one that was right on that one.
Well, I'd like to take the credit for it, but I think that was a lucky guess. I'm going to pretend to be an economist here, right? It's a 50-50 chance. But in all honesty, this is what it is. And we talked about it in the last episode. You talked about having a rich experience. And essentially, that's what living this life is all about, right? It's to experience life. And we are missing out with all this technology. And guess who gets to experience it? Jeff Bezos on his $100 million yacht. Right. And in all experience, like in all honesty, that's what it is. Everybody else is living a life that is not as rich. And I don't mean wealthy. Well, I should say wealthy as well. You're putting my wife and I had this conversation the other day. I said, as you buy these products, guess who's making money on the other side? Right. These guys are the ones that are sitting on their yachts. So they have trained us to live electronically so they can line their pockets. What we need to do is get back into living life and experiencing it to the level that we should, which is richness. And I think we're going to see a resurgence in this. We're already seeing this in the business world, in the business development world. We have a community here where we have 50 entrepreneurs that have come together. We meet on a weekly basis. We've been doing it through Zoom for the last 2.5 years. And we had our first in-person meeting yesterday, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was amazing. I think people are going to resurge into live interactions. If you take a look at what Elon Musk said, right? Get your butts back into the office. There's a reason for that. For minute tasks, for things that you don't need connection for. Yes, order it online. Yes, use electronics. Like, yeah, do I need to really go and feel out tissue or toilet paper all the time? No, I can order it online or whatever that is. But if I want to buy something that I'm going to wear, right, I want to see how it fits. I want to see, what it looks like on me. And I want to go and actually get out of the house sometimes, right? We talked about Toys R Us before, where I want to take my kids to Toys R Us so that we can have an experience as a family. That is going to come back, I believe. I truly believe it's going to come back. I think we need to, in some ways, resist technology when it comes to making our lives less rich. I don't know how else to explain it. I think we do. People talk about technology being, a savior. Yes, for a lot of companies it has, but it's also pulled us back. Look at family units, right? I think we should talk about that in our next episode, because I can I can rant about that for 2 hours in terms of how technology has impacted that. But for this conversation, yes, I think now is the time. If you have a business that you've been focusing on technology, get back into connection, get back into the experience, because we know this studies show this. People actually buy more when you touch more on their senses, all of their senses, the 5 senses that we have. Use those to your advantage.
Yeah. In my own career, one of the major hurdles that I have to overcome is the fact that it's difficult to do that. When you walk into the Apple store and you can actually hold the iPhone in your hand, it's a lot harder to give it up. But when all you see is a picture online, it's a lot easier to scroll to the next page. That physical interaction, one of the things that you mentioned, Elon Musk saying, hey, if you don't want to actually show up to the office, you can go pretend to work somewhere else. That also is something that now that I'm most of my work is done remotely. Most of my client work is done. I work at home, and they're sometimes on other continents or other parts of the world. One of the things that I really do miss is like that family teamwork experience from my old corporate jobs where we all met up. Sometimes we'd go hang out, we'd go bowling. We would say, hey, I love that shirt, man. That's dope. That's a cool new haircut you got or whatever like that. It's that bonding, that familial aspect of a business. I feel like I kind of miss out on that sometimes. And as a business, I think that that's one of the, if you're looking for something to differentiate yourself, being able to provide that one-on-one bonding between your employees or your associates or your customers even is kind of goes along with all of this stuff that we've been talking about today as far as your brand strategy, your business strategy, having that connection that we miss out on so much stuff nowadays seems like an important thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, you just nailed it there again. One of the things that a lot of businesses are having challenges with right now is retaining staff and staffing. That's a huge, huge challenge. And guess what? A lot of it is because you're not in person. You're not collaborating with other people on your team. You're not building those relationships. We do know through research that for a person to remain loyal to an organization, yes, there's other factors such as pay and stuff like that, but having close relationships at work has a huge impact on employee retention and engagement. Absolutely. I'm seeing this all the time. I see this with a lot of tech people that work in tech and they work from home. They'll switch from one job to another job to another job to another because there's no connection. And guess what? There's another element to it too. There's collaboration. I love innovation. My background's all about innovation. And your team needs to be together to be innovative, right? That energy that you have when you're standing next to a person or in a boardroom or on a whiteboard when the people are chatting and that you can't replicate that online. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the aspect of productivity. I think there's a certain population of people that are more productive working at home. But I believe that there's a larger population of people that are more productive actually working at work. And so all of these factors, I think even technologists now, like Elon Musk, have realized, crap, I can talk technology all the time. I can talk forward thinking, but when it comes down to share price and productivity and money in my pocket now, maybe I have to go back to old school ways of doing things. I'm not going to send them to Mars to get the job done.
So I'm going to ask you one last question as we close it out this episode, and it pertains back to the Superfans days. What we were talking about, the connection with employees or connection with coworkers where you're actually in a physical location and you bond with each other and it makes a stronger team. Does that connection, does that bonding have anything to do with physical locations as far as shopping, when I can go in and talk to an associate or a salesperson versus when I'm just ordering something online, the brand enthusiasm, the super fans as it may be? Do you think that there's a similar aspect to that?
Oh, 110%. That's why Starbucks was killing it, because they created the experience that people came in. You could smell, right, the coffee. You can hear the people. You can feel the energy. That's absolutely it. My wife loves to go to the mall because she gets that experience, right, of shopping. Women love that, actually going out and experiencing, seeing the clothes, touching the clothes, all that kind of stuff. So especially for women, they have to touch and feel it. So all of these things, when it comes to senses, right? We talk about the sight, taste, touch, hearing, smell. All of these things, they impact your brain, and your brain, your emotions, your brain are what determine whether you're going to buy or not. If you walk into a physical location and you smell something good, you feel something, good, and you hear something good, right? And even if you taste and you see it, all of these things just stack on top of each other and increases your chances of buying, but also remembering that experience and that emotional connection to it. That is ultimately what it's about, because now you have this memory ingrained with all these senses so that you're more likely to feel that and crave it again and want to go back to that physical location. Where it's technology, yeah, I see a screen, yippee yay. I can see 1,000 screens a day. It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to plug your insight at the end of this episode, because anybody that's listened to enough of our episodes, guilty admission, the beginning of Corona totally screwed with my head and messed with my business and my mindset. And just the first year of it was not good for me at all. I thank God or the universe or whatever that I had you in my life, because you helped me pull my head out of my ass. And last year was an amazing year for my business. This year is so far so good. It's going on the same trajectory. And I owe so much of that to you, because your mindset, your insights, your just way of thinking helped pull me out of a really dark place when the world was going kind of crazy. And if other business owners out there are in the same or similar situation that I was, and they want to talk to you about how to best position themselves, how to best take advantage of, how to best navigate the current situation with their business, is there a way that people can reach out to you and see if it makes sense to, hire you for a consulting, or have you help them the way that you've been able to help me with my business?
Yeah, thanks. First of all, I want to say thank you. There's a lot I learned from you as well, Nathan. So thank you for that. For people out there, I think the one thing that I want to say is, hey, look, if you want to get free strategies, just hop onto our newsletter. It is theceonewsletter.com. Just simply subscribe there. If you want to reach out to me directly, more than happy to chat. You can reach out to me at the email team@purdeepsangha.com, and I'll respond back to you. And feel free to tune into our episodes, and I'm sure you're going to get additional value. You can check out I was going to say male podcast, but we changed the URL to the completemanpodcast.com. So let me repeat again, completemanpodcast.com or YouTubeformen.com. I know that's a lot of URLs. Maybe we'll throw them into the text here. But check us out. We're going to be around. Subscribe to our podcast. We appreciate your support. And more than anything, we hope that you get value from this and it helps you in your business and in your personal life.
Awesome. And if you love to see two bald men talk business strategy, YouTubeformen.com, is that where they can catch the videos?
That's it. Yep.
Nice. All right, man. Until next time, we will catch you later.
Till next time. Take care.